Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's January 9th, coming up on 11:30 a.m. here. If you guys are liking these videos, do me a favor and go ahead and click like and make sure to subscribe. So today we're going to be looking at the nice weather coming for the Pacific Northwest here. You can see us warming up into the mid 40s, even 50s along the Oregon coast. Then we're going to take a look at the next atmospheric river system coming our way for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for some flooding potential. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at the extreme extended to see if that cold weather signal is still showing up for late January into February. Taking a look around the country now, you can see we've got Arctic air mainly east of the Rockies now. You can see the temperatures have modified somewhat for the interior of British Columbia. Eastern Washington's still in the 20s. You can see some 40s making it to the valley of the eastern portions of the state. And we've got some severe weather down in the southeast here. We had an active tornado warning there for Mississippi. We've got a tornado watch currently and some severe potential down here in the southeast. Check out those temperatures out in front of that front there. Very warm, and then the very cool temperatures behind it. Nice clash of air masses, which spawns that severe weather for the region down there. So taking a look at what's coming up here, you can see the next atmospheric river system streaming north of Hawaii, and this is eventually going to punch into the Pacific Northwest, targeting Vancouver Island and western Washington and the interior mountain regions, the Cascades of Washington. Putting this loop into motion here, you can see the atmospheric river streaming across the Pacific here, and you can see the ridging, at least for today, giving us a nice sunny day across most portions of the region. Some of the fog is hanging on through the Willamette Valley a bit there today, but should be a nice day for most areas except for some high clouds before the main high clouds from this next system start moving in on Monday, and then the more powerful system associated with the atmospheric river moves in on Tuesday. So let's just go ahead and start looking at what's coming today for a minute first. So look at the NAM here. This is simulated infrared satellite imagery here, and you can see it keeps us clear of clouds all the way through tonight. And the HRRR is also showing similar. You can see this is on into this afternoon, nice sunny skies. The HRRR is calling for some low 50s for Seattle and for Portland area, and you can see the southern Oregon coast getting into the mid and upper 50s even, and 50s all the way up to Washington coast. Still chilly in the eastern portions of the state, except for some of the valleys getting into the 40s. And if we look into the next system coming here, here it is on the GFS. You can see that warm front setting up right here off the Washington-Oregon coast as this next system stretches all the way back into Hawaii. Look at that, a true Pineapple Express atmospheric river. And as we put that into motion, you can see this hangs out for a while. That moisture just bombards the Pacific Northwest, mainly Washington and Vancouver Island there, all the way into Thursday morning before this weak low just dies off the Oregon coast here. So checking out precipitation totals, you can see how the GFS mainly bullseyes Vancouver Island and the interior mountains of British Columbia there. It also gets the Olympic Mountains pretty good, and the Cascades get a good dose of rain with this too. If we check the European precipitation totals here, you can see that the Olympics are a little bit more bullseye too, kind of splits the difference between them, and also targets the interior mountain regions of western Washington and British Columbia with a pretty good dousing of rain here. So we could be looking at some flooding concerns for British Columbia and Washington here coming into next week. Again, here's the atmospheric river as we play out on the European. We'll go back to current, and you can see where I showed you on that satellite imagery. It's coming across north of Hawaii here, and as we bring it into the future here, you can see that warm front set up off the coastline here, and it just hangs out for a while. You can see it just feeding moisture into the region. Probably a 36-hour event, which is pretty typical for a strong atmospheric river, and that's probably what we're looking at here. And as we look at the category potential here, you can see 24 to 48 hours, we're probably going to be right into the strong region there. And this is not going to be a beneficial atmospheric river at this point. We've gotten too much rain and there's too much flooding going on, so this is going to be mainly hazardous at this point. You can see the National Weather Service Seattle started to take notice of this. They're calling for potential moderate flooding in some of the places off the Olympic Mountains. Snow levels, look at that, are going to be 600 to 7,500 feet. That will include all of the Olympic Mountains, including the highest peaks. So heads up there. This is for Whistler, Canada. The precipitation total has been brought down a little bit in the recent ensemble runs. You can see that it was over 100 centimeters yesterday. It's down around 60 today. Still a good shot of precipitation. and most of it occurs as the temperature is above freezing. So you're going to get quite a bit of melting. Even though the good snowpack up there will absorb a lot of this rain, you're still going to get runoff and some melting from all this precipitation. Looking at Hoquiam here, you can see that the European is saying a little bit more than 2 inches in a 24-hour period, and it's going to be up over 3 inches for the entire event, and much higher for the Olympic Mountains and the higher terrain. Some of the areas of the Cascades are going to get much higher than 3 inches in this event. Here is Quileute on the GFS. You can see the signal increasing for northwest Washington coast there, over 3 inches. And this is just along the coastline. Off to the east, Olympic Mountains, Hoh Rainforest is going to see much higher rainfall totals than this. So definitely going to have some flooding concerns. This is for Comox. This is East Vancouver Island, about halfway up. And you can see that the precip value that I showed yesterday has been brought down too. And this is a result of the bullseye actually sliding further south on Vancouver Island into western Washington more. The models have been trending south with the system overall. And taking a look quickly into the extended here, you can see we're going through this brief period where we're positive, where it tends to be less Arctic outbreaks and less cold air getting into the region. But then you can see later into January, the GFS, this recent run, has us going into negative territory all the way through middle of February. So that's a good signal for some cold air. The atmosphere is going to take a bit to respond to this. And this is no guarantee of cold air, but it is something just to kind of watch for. It's something for snow lovers to look at, and just, you can dream big about your snow potential there. The European, this is again the Pacific North American oscillation. When this goes negative, we tend to be colder, or we at least have a better chance at being colder. And you can see we're going to be positive for a while through mid-January. Then you can see we start the trend into negative territory off into the second half of January. So we'll see how that goes on into February. And again, the European and the GFS are both showing that potential for going into a colder period. So maybe we'll go 3 out of 4 Februaries with, a nice shot of snow here in the Pacific Northwest. This is the extended GFS. This is looking way out there, February 5th. But you can see we've got that big ridging, which tends to allow for that north flow and the potential for some Arctic air to get near our region. And the signal is there. No need to panic just yet. And looking onto our landslide index, you can see it start to decrease. We haven't had rain for over a day now, and you can see Boeingfield and Everett are actually just getting below the threshold there. SeaTac and Tacoma Narrows is still above it, but it is lessening now that we're not getting the rain. But this is going to change again into next week. Depending on what areas are targeted, we're going to see these values go back up again, and the landslide potential is going to return. And this is not just for lowlands too. Some of the big landslides can occur in the foothills. So some of these areas have been inundated with huge amounts of rain. We've got large snowpack. If we keep melting that and bringing in big rain, it's just a matter of time before some large landslides are going to occur. We're already getting, quite a few local landslides around the area. Here's a nice indicator, a diagram of the warning signs for landslides. You can see sagging utility lines, broken water pipes. Maybe your house is just being affected by the sloping of the terrain around you. Opening of doors or windows becomes difficult. Formation of cracks that you didn't see before, tilting of trees. So this is a good diagram on how that works. And of course, our landslides are being caused by heavy rains or snowmelt. The last thing we would need right now is an earthquake to strike the region. That would just exacerbate our threat. But yeah, so we're looking at a potential Category 3 atmospheric river coming up, flooding potential across the region. And you can see some of these precipitation bullseyes are pretty high, and this could get ugly, especially if the models keep trending south with this precipitation. Right now, it's just really starting to show up in southwest Washington again, and we're just dealt with that severe flooding down by Chehalis and Centralia. So, I don't see this missing the region, but hopefully this event weakens, or, that's really our best hope right now, is that it weakens and these precipitation totals don't amount quite as high as what we're seeing now. So yeah, get out there and enjoy this nice day. You can see it should be pretty sunny for most areas. Some of the Willamette Valley, that fog is holding on a bit, but we're showing some pretty good temperatures. Lower 50s and sunshine is going to feel glorious. So get out, have some fun. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today. I'm trying to get a COVID test around the region, but it seems like that's kind of impossible right now. So stay safe, everybody. I'm just going to isolate in the house today and try to stay away from the family so I don't get anybody else sick if I do have it. But if you guys are, have any additional feedback, go ahead and put it in the comments. Most of the feedback's been pretty good. I tried to work on my audio here to try to make it better. Hopefully you guys can hear that and it sounds better. And we'll take a closer look at that atmospheric river tomorrow, and hopefully things, trend a little bit weaker with these precipitation totals, because we really don't need another atmospheric river at this time. We really need, a good week or so to really dry out the slopes. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos. Check back on Twitter, Seattle Weather Guy, to see my up-to-date posts, and I will put out my report as tomorrow per usual, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.